सब लोग ट्रेड पे ट्रेड किए जा रहे थे यार. So let's
this
shift
league was
the
ruthless,
discussion
man.
to our
Yeah,
main content.
correct. Varun, आ जाओ.
Yes. All right.
So, since we'll be doing the
We are
Champions
already
League
live, huh,
roundup,
guys?
I
So,
know, I know, I know.
uh,
Yes.
So, since we are doing the Champions League roundup, what I suggest is we do a small recap on the format change, because I think that was the most significant element this season. Then, of course, we have to spend a few minutes on Manan talking about Celtic and his entire journey this season. We'll look at the league table and we'll see what happened during the league phase. We'll visit the knockouts one by one, and then we can talk about the ultimate, I think, the best semi final in a long, long time. And then one of the most one sided finals I think I have seen in the Champions League till date. So let's begin with the format. So, Varun, Manan, what were your thoughts this time?
Loved it. I think it was a refreshing format. Lot of good fixtures in the group stages. Um, yeah, of course, as Manan had said at the beginning, there's no jeopardy in it. Even a team like PSG, which was so close to going out, they ended up winning the Champions League. But yeah, but I think the matchups that happened were amazing. Like the kind of games that we got to watch in the group stages were very good. So yeah.
I think as a fan, it was a very fun tournament to watch. It gave a fan everything, more of everything that we love, like more games between top teams,
Yeah.
uh, more games between equal teams. That also produces
Yeah.
exciting results, right? And it gave our favorite teams more opportunity to still qualify to the knockouts despite being not so good for a large part of the tournament. So there's no downside in the short term as a fan. But I still think that it's just like too many games for players, and players are getting more injured every single year, and it might end up killing the golden goose. So um, overall, I'm still not happy about the format. From a macro perspective, from a fan perspective, it was amazing.
Louis, what do
And
you think?
what were I loved it, yeah. I honestly loved it. When this got announced, I think it was a reaction to the entire Super League and their format and how they wanted to look at things. They wanted bigger teams to play each other more number of times before the knockout stages to have better revenue streams. But like Manan and you said, like from a fan's perspective, it is the ultimate, right? You get to see your team going to different and I use the term your team very loosely because Chelsea wasn't there, but you go to different away stadiums which are extremely difficult. And
Yeah.
this time in the league phase especially, there was some jeopardy. Of course it didn't reflect in the results, but if we look at it from just a top 8 perspective, uh, like giving an example, where do you think PSG finished in the table? Manan, you're on mute,
Between
buddy.
16 to 24, I think.
15 though, just one place out of
Okay,
16.
yeah.
And similarly, till the final two games, Madrid were almost out of the top
Hmm.
slots. So
Hmm.
I think that created a good, interesting thought of one of the big teams not qualifying. And I was honestly very surprised with the fact that Liverpool went through the 8 games without losing a single one, 7 wins and a draw. I honestly didn't think that was possible in such a competitive format. So all credit to them.
But I
I
also
mean,
feel that
Liverpool just had a. Sorry,
there's
no,
not much
continue.
of a difference between the old league and the new league in terms of number of matches, right? We used to play 6 group games and now we're
Six.
playing 8 group games. So it's like
But the
two
difference
game.
is the teams.
Yeah. But I mean the
And then there's
intensity of
also
the
the two
games.
playoff games, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's four extra games. जो
The
8
two
to
playoff
No,
24
games.
so
Yeah.
का
If you
playoffs.
don't qualify in the top, if you don't qualify in the top eight,
हाँ,
right?
top 8.
हाँ. So that's like
So one,
24. 16 teams are
correct.
playing the playoff games, right?
So one difference is usually what used to happen in the earlier format is pot one, pot two, pot three, pot four, and each pot say एक team would come in the group. Now usually pot three and pot four would not be very well
Yeah,
recognized or very competitive teams. So essentially one and two were guaranteed to make it to the next
yeah,
phase for
yeah,
sure. And उसमें भी home and away में you honestly have maybe one group or two groups out of eight जहाँ पे you have a chance of a top team missing out. So it was more or less guaranteed unless someone really plays very badly कि यार ये तो qualify हो ही जाएंगे. इसमें अभी
correct.
कैसा है कि although मतलब I completely understand that you are still going to qualify if you are playing reasonably well, but top eight actually makes a big difference. Another change which they have made for next season now is that if you finish in the top eight, then every single game you get the away leg advantage. That is, the away leg is gonna the second leg is gonna be played at your home ground. So that was
Depending
But
on
something
the
which
what if
where
you
was
are?
you end in the
But
group
that cannot
stage.
be happening after
yes, correct.
quarterfinals, right? So एक
No,
ही leg में
at
एक ही playoff.
least हाँ मतलब at least there's
No,
some benefit that they're getting, right?
The,
no,
only
if
the
it
round of
go,
16, right?
no,
So,
no, no. Even going ahead,
but if two teams finishing in the top eight are playing each other in the
In the
quarterfinals,
it's
in the league
position in the
standing.
top eight.
okay. So it depends on the where you finish in the top eight also.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, that's what I was saying against PSG game as well, right? Where Arsenal finished
Arsenal,
much ahead in the group stage, but we didn't get any advantage out of it,
correct.
right? So that is what something that rectified, and in fact, was Arsenal who actually appealed to UEFA for this. So
Hmm.
yeah,
So I think that'll be interesting again.
Yeah, more money, more excitement for everyone.
So just coming to the overall group standings, I think Liverpool, Arsenal, and Villa, the three English teams, finished in the top eight. We had Barcelona, Atletico, and Inter, who again rounded it off in the top five. And then we had Lille, surprisingly, who was there, which I don't think many people expect. And Atlanta and Dortmund just narrowly missed out. So I think it was quite surprising because I think at the beginning of the season we all had predicted Madrid to do really well and PSG to do really well. Eventually PSG did win, but yeah, at least in the league phase there was a
City to
difference.
do very well also.
City, of
yeah.
course.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah,
Moving along, yeah. Any other comments on the group stage or the format?
no, I think maybe 5 years down the line, we'll probably see more of the big teams finishing in the top eight because the teams were
Hmm.
also maybe a little lax this year. Ki first season here, they didn't know the importance of finishing in the top eight. Perhaps they didn't take the first few league matches very seriously. Like once they understand the advantages, the bigger teams will start making more effort, perhaps, and that may result into being a bit monotonous in terms of the top eight. Like six out of the top eight will be perhaps the same year on year. You know, something like that could happen.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Possible given the context. Now I'd like to talk about Manan and his famous prediction.
We should like edit that original clip and put it here. No, yeah, when I saw the fixture, I genuinely thought chance. And I think until about midway through the league stage, they were in with a shout. They had four winnable. The last four games that they had were very winnable in a way. And after that, I think they lost their way where they drew two, one, and lost one. So they couldn't rack up those points, and they perhaps finished, I think, below 16th, if I'm not mistaken. We had checked last time, I think. So
19th, if
eventually
I'm
it didn't
not
work
wrong.
out. Eventually it didn't work out. But I really felt based on their fixtures, they had a very fair shot of finishing in the top eight, like a Lille or something.
I don't think so.
Of course, now
Hence
it's
the counter bet.
we'll see. We'll find another team next year to do this again.
Fair enough.
Varun is just happy he got to keep his hair.
My beard.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, nice.
but
But yeah, but have Celtic qualified for next year?
Let me check.
coming to the knockout
Yeah,
stages, some
38 games,
really
92 points. Celtic won the league, so they have qualified.
Hmm.
coming to the knockout
Yeah,
stages, some really good fixtures in the knockout stages as well, right? Even in the playoffs
Yeah,
and the early stages of the knockout phase, like uh, I think,
Atletico and Real played each other
I,
in the pre-quarter
yeah,
final, and that
yeah,
Alvarez
famous.
penalty, right?
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
I got so much shit from my friends from Atletico after that game. It was insane. I think I'll invite one of them one of these times during our recording.
Yeah, yeah, please do.
yeah.
He's also another Mr. Intense.
Two Mr. Intenses on the screen. Will you guys be able to handle it?
No, we'll not talk. We'll allow you to fight with each other.
No, but that was
um,
very shocking because like all the replays in the initial phase at least couldn't reveal that there was a double touch. Of course, there were certain angles which came on later, which did reveal that there could have been a second touch over there. But then, if you look at the same thing in previous years, it has never been disqualified. So I think it was very, it was one of those things wherein you don't know how it would have ended up. Imagine if Atletico go through, possibly Arsenal versus Atletico. Atletico may shut out the Arsenal team,
Yeah,
and then maybe Atletico versus PSG. It can be in a different mold as well.
yeah.
So yeah, a
No, all
butterfly
things
effect
said,
kind of a
Atletico is a
situation.
very good squad right now, and they've had a very good season also. Like they
Hmm.
started off slow and they picked up after a while because they had a lot of new signings for them to gel in the team and understand Simeone's tactics. But yeah, they could have had a really good season, like in the Champions League.
PSG are the
yeah.
prime
Arsenal को तो
example,
मजा आ
right?
रहा देते.
So PSG
Yeah,
in the first 4 5 games were horrible, and then once they started hitting form, they were unstoppable. Like I have never seen a team go through an entire knockout phase the way they did. Like Liverpool, home and away, dominated, and how Arsenal, I felt, were the best team at that stage of the competition after beating Madrid, and somehow they got the better of Arsenal. And the keeper had a very big part to do in the second leg as well. Dominated the finals, but we'll get back to that later. But yeah, let's spend a couple of minutes for Varun to share his Arsenal versus Madrid story.
Crazy, right? Like, so these are the games that like you want to watch Champions League for as a fan. So I feel it was amazing. So we have played Madrid now 4 times in Champions League, like 4 games, and I think we have won like 3 of them now. So yeah, I mean it was an amazing 2 games for us, and I think Declan Rice was like a star reborn
Crazy.
after those games.
those two
So
free kicks, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, it
like
was
wow,
Imagine
crazy.
in the entire season he would not have done anything of that sort, and in that
Yeah,
single game he pulled off the two most
yeah,
amazing moments for Arsenal.
yeah.
yeah,
His free
and
kicks
then
reminded me of Juninho,
Yeah,
the Brazilian guy who used to play for Lyon.
yeah.
Pernambucano.
Uh,
So, and also then you realize, like, sometimes you pay so much for these players, but it's this quality that you kind of generate in these big games that actually defines you and can turn your season, right? Uh, I mean, I think Super, and he was very good in the second leg as well, by the way. So,
hmm.
I mean, well done to the entire team. I feel they were really, really good,
He
and
ensured there was no referee involved. Like he took the refereeing out of the question.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Because
insane.
there's always controversy around Madrid, right? Like referees are favoring them.
Yeah,
various other
yeah,
things
yeah,
are said. So he just ensured that that's not a factor anymore.
yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, going into the second leg, there were so many of these news items that they were coming. They're going to close the
They did.
stadium. Yeah,
Yeah,
They
yeah,
did,
yeah.
they did.
close the roof, and then the all the past
Remontado.
Madrid comebacks,
Yeah.
and and all of those things. It was like a crazy 1 week leading up to
Build
the
up.
second leg as well, right? So yeah, but like
No,
that
and
that all
honestly,
makes the
correct. And
yeah, go ahead.
honestly, given Madrid's pedigree as well as recent experience, they have done this. Yeah, they've done this
Yeah,
consistently,
yeah,
beating City from 3-1 down to score 3 goals in the last what I
yeah,
think 7-8 minutes, including extra time. Beating Chelsea when they were 1-0, well, 1-0 down on aggregate, and Rodrigo finishes beautifully from a Modric Trivela pass. So they've done
yeah.
this consistently, and that too against English teams.
True, true,
So
true. So in the second leg, when then Saka missed that penalty, right? I was like, oh my god, this is not
and
happening.
what was your thought on the penalty, Panenka? Like I'm pretty sure Haru would have just
I know I would
let
have been
go at
like,
that moment.
this is such a Rishabh Pant moment, man.
Stupid, stupid, stupid.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, but I think even after we missed the penalty, we kind of
Dominated.
dominated the game. Like we didn't let
Yeah.
Madrid go away, run away with the game. I feel the players showed a lot of composure, a lot of maturity. There were so many times when Madrid players were trying to entice them into kind of being aggressive or doing something stupid. Like you could see Bellingham being aggressive for no reason with a lot of players, but we just resisted all of those Madrid shenanigans and kind of kept our focus. That was great, I feel. The
Now
other
on to
fixture that I feel was great in that round was PSG versus Liverpool.
yeah.
And I am sure if Liverpool PSG didn't happen at that point, Liverpool would have gone way ahead in the tournament as well. That could have been the final basically. So yeah, but PSG in that fixture were like crazy. So yeah,
I have never seen this Liverpool side being dominated in such a way
yeah,
this season for sure. And even at Anfield, like in the first half an hour, Liverpool were amazing. But after that, I don't know how Enrique turned it around. But in the second half, and especially in the second half of the second half, Liverpool didn't have the ball. It was amazing.
yeah.
We need to start talking about Enrique in the league of coaches like Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, his contemporaries, because I mean he has two trebles now. Of course,
Correct.
you always discount the French league and the cups because PSG are so much more dominant there. But the kind of dominance they've shown this season in the Champions League, like you know that even in a more competitive environment, they would still have perhaps won the league and the domestic cup.
They've beaten all four English sides. You
Yeah,
can't get more dominant than that. Like
yeah,
that was his comment, right? It's a farmers' league, and we have beaten every single English side that we could.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he deserves to be now sort of in the conversation with these guys again.
By the
So
way, Manan,
before
United had a chance to sign Enrique.
I know, I know, I know. Yeah,
looking back, I don't. So I'll tell you honestly, like Enrique was linked to a lot of clubs, including Chelsea, including Arsenal, but he never like somehow it did not work out for him. And I think aside from Enrique, a lot of credit should go to Luis Campos,
Luis Campos. Yeah,
the sporting director, because how they have turned things around over there is amazing. You have your best player, whom you had signed for more than £100 million, saying that he doesn't want to play for you anymore. You have built a squad around him. He leaves on a free transfer. They get literally kids. Like Desiree Du was 18 at the time. They get Barcola, who's again, I think, 21, if I'm not wrong. And they get kids to replace, these established superstars. they get a Barcelona reject by the name of Dembele, and he is converted into the best player in the Champions League. And I've sent that reel to you guys, right? The one in which Enrique is talking to Mbappe, and he's
Yeah.
telling him what he wants from him. And it's like, I think that reel or that moment just sums up Enrique, the Champions League, and what it means to be a victorious side. Like, I think that is the difference. Mbappe, he acknowledges, is the best player in the world in an attacking sense. But even when you are the best player in the world, you cannot win a team game on your own every single game. And when it comes to big games, he has to work without the ball and he has to follow a particular plan. And if you see the Champions League final, Dembele, he did not give Jan Sommer a single moment to relax. Like the entire time, he was pressing him from the front, and he made sure that he was not giving any easy passes for Inter to build up their game. And in a very sort of poetic justice, Mbappe, who left PSG to the former Champions League holders to win a Champions League, is not able to even get to the semis, wherein Dembele, who has been literally, if you ask Barca fans, they would have the worst opinion of him. He goes to a PSG and is reinstated or like made into a god by one of their former managers just by following instructions that how he wants them to play. And the
Yeah.
entire PSG team, Al Khalifi, Campos, Enrique, all the players. You look at how solid the players were together. It was like every player you speak to in that, like when they were doing interviews, they all said the same thing, that we are like a family. And I have never seen a PSG team kind of do that ever. So that was, I think, one of the moments for me for sure.
So it
Yeah,
was a culture
that
change, right? Like from
Complete
top to
culture
bottom,
change.
it was a total culture change. But I
And it
still
didn't,
think,
it in
I mean,
such a small
Mbappe.
time.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the culture change was already happening. There was just one guy who was the opposite influence, let's say, and when he left, everything just fits in so well. And I actually also think, I mean, of course, it has happened such this season, but Mbappe is going to win the Champions League at Real. Like, it's not going to be like he's not going to win. He'll
Of
probably win
course.
more Champions Leagues at Real than he would have if he were in PSG. Because if he were in PSG, then they would not be such a good team. Like Real is by nature a team that can have Mbappe and still win, right? But PSG is not. Well, we don't really know what PSG is because I mean it's a relatively new sort of phenomena with PSG past 12, 13 years, right? But like Real can be this team where Mbappe can do whatever he want and they still win. So so yeah, I think like for Mbappe it was not a bad move at all. I think it was a good move. But and for PSG, of course, it was a great move. And yeah, I think they are the best Champions League winners in the past maybe 7, 8 years, if I'm not mistaken. Like the most dominant winners, let's say, not the best,
yeah.
but most dominant winners.
For sure.
Yeah. In
So in
fact,
the
the
reel
last
that you
team
had
that I
sent,
think,
right?
sorry.
Sorry, I was just coming back to UV's reel that he had sent about Mbappe. That one thing where he was saying, telling Mbappe that the world knows that you are a great player, but we want you to be a leader, not just a great player, right? And being a leader, you have to lead with your actions, and that is something I think is a lesson for every uh, top-notch player or every good player over there, right? Like it's not sufficient to be a good player. If you want to be a legend, you have to be a good player and you have to lead by example as well in all formats, in all the kind of ways you can, not just like scoring goals, but also like the effort that you put in, contribution defensively, etc., etc. And I think that was like that shows you the mentality with which Enrique was actually managing them as well, right? So yeah, that was
And
good.
the intensity from
Yeah,
Enrique is like crazy insane.
yeah, yeah.
Another
Sorry, man, you
I'm
were saying
pretty
something.
sure.
Oh, I don't recollect now. Anyway,
Achha, okay.
Another very, I'm 100% sure you guys would have known about this, but a very soft moment and a very heartfelt moment in the finals. So the context is that Luis Enrique, he won the treble at Barca, and he had his 9-year-old daughter Zana
Yeah.
with him at the time. And there's a very nice picture which was taken wherein he is inserting the corner flag into the ground, and his daughter is accompanying him. And unfortunately, his daughter suffered from a very rare case of bone cancer, and she couldn't recover, and she passed away. And that was one of the reasons why Luis Enrique decided to take a break from football. And like, it is something which I think every single person at Barcelona, every single person who was connected to Enrique, and now every single person at PSG would have felt so bad for him. And the PSG fans, all credit to them, they created a tifo for the entire stand, wherein they did the same replica of that image. And if you just go on social media, it'll be there all over the place. And like, in many ways, it just shows the kind of connect he has developed with the entire city, and how the entire city respects and is supporting him through everything now. So that was, I think, a very, very soft and very heartfelt moment. Like, even let's say we as people who have no connection to PSG and maybe no affinity towards PSG, but we would have loved for Enrique to win the game just for that single moment.
Yeah.
yeah, I was supporting Inter, but yeah, okay. No, but like about Enrique, it is so he has had like say three successful teams, right? Three teams that have successfully won big trophies. One was Barcelona, one was Spain, and one is PSG now. And all three teams play so different to each other. Like Barcelona was really like in a way counter attacking where they would just bypass their own midfield as soon as possible to get the ball to Neymar, Messi, and Suarez. And these
Suarez.
three would work their magic. There was not a very high pressing team. And then there was a Spain team which would be like very dogmatic about controlling possession. They would have like 65 to 70% possession every game, and very high pressing, very aggressive, that kind of a team. And then this PSG team is more of a vertical tiki taka, right? Like they are not putting long balls, but they are very quick. Like they
Yeah.
don't dilly dally and they don't care so much about holding possession as much as the Spanish team did. Still high pressing, but moving the ball forward very quickly. So all three of these teams are so different tactically. It's not like he's wedded to an idea. He's just wedded to the team ethos that whatever we are doing, we are going to do it as a team, and I'm going to play to the strength of my team.
Yeah.
Completely agree. I think we should talk about two other things now. One is the greatest semi-final in the last decade, possibly the Barca versus Inter. I would say knockout, and then we can just spend a few moments on the final, which was literally an annihilation. We'll let the resident Madrid fan share his views first.
No, I mean, I think it was. I didn't see either of the games, Barcelona Inter semi final. But from what I saw in the highlights and what I read about it, uh, very like it would have been heartbreaking for either of the team to lose because they were so uh, equal to each other. Uh, of course, Barcelona was dominant in possession, and despite that, Inter Milan had a lot of chances and they did score a lot of goals over the two fixtures. So, very exciting game. And I think the fact that Barcelona have this very high line, it makes matches very exciting because it's a high line. There's always an opportunity for players to run behind it, and uh, like they like create chances. So it becomes a lot end to end, like because the opposition team is going to try and hoof the ball for their fast forwards to run into as soon as possible, and like it creates a lot of fun for the viewers. So I think it was a very good matchup because Inter Milan has fast forwards and fast wing backs, so they can all converge and use the space offered by Barcelona. uh, so yeah, and like great stories all around. Like I remember Lamine Yamal had three people on him, and he was still terrorizing the whole team. I mean,
Yeah.
it is insane how good this guy is at 17. So so yeah, a lot of good storylines, and I mean, I should appreciate Simone Inzaghi also here and the job that he's done. Like I have no
Yeah.
affinity to Inter Milan or to him, but two Champions League finals in 3 years on a shoestring budget and losing some important players here and there all the time. Like he has
Like
Mkhitaryan playing
Onana.
starting. Yeah, Onana was great for them in their first season, right? Like when they reached the Champions League final. So Lukaku, I think Lukaku was still there when Simone Inzaghi
Before,
was
I think
before.
he had
Okay.
left. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like he has Arnautovic as his backup forward. He has Mkhitaryan who's starting in the midfield. So you see that squad, and like he has really old players there also. And you see that squad and you don't feel like they would succeed so much. And Inzaghi has this one thing that he uses a lot of substitutions throughout the season. Like at 60, like it's fixed that 60 minutes per year substitutions honge. So he uses a lot of substitutions just to ensure that this whole squad still has some teeth in it come the end of the season, because it's not a squad filled with quality that the bench is going to be great. We were watching the final together, we were checking the bench, and there was no one, right? Like there was
Yeah.
Matteo Darmian and Arnautovic and Mehdi Taremi and all these kinds of players who are like not even A list players. Like forget A plus or elite players. They're not even A list players. So doing all of this with the squad that they have, it's really a very commendable job that he's done. And following from Conte is not easy anywhere. Like I don't think anyone who's followed Conte has been so successful as Simone Inzaghi as
Fair point.
Inzaghi has definitely done a great job at Inter. And honestly, like going into that semi, I actually thought Barca were the firm favorites. Uh, but the way that Inter team never gave up, always came back into the game, showed a great fight. It was very refreshing. I mean, I was like, I really liked the way they actually handled Barca. It was too good. And given the fact that how they had played against Barca in the semis, I was hoping for a tougher fight in the final because all, like PSG and Barca, they don't play exactly the same style, but it's very similar, right? So I thought, having done what they have done against Barcelona, they would actually give PSG a tough fight. But yeah, coming to that UV's point on the final, it was extremely one-sided. Yeah.
Just a small caption on the semis. So both the legs, the Barca team, they were down 2-0, and they came back brilliantly in the first leg too. First go 2-2 and then draw 3-3. And in the second leg, they actually were ahead. So they were ahead at 3-2. And it was the final moments wherein Barca were attacking, and Lamine Yamal, he could have just let's say, gone to the corner with less than 2 minutes left and just would have killed off the game. But being 17, and he cut inside, hit a beautiful shot which hit the post, came back, and with that counter, Barca conceded in the final minute of normal time. And then in the extra time, Inter won. So those are the fine margins, and it would have been amazing to see whether Barca would have been able to overcome this PSG side,
Yeah.
because that would have been a very interesting contest.
Yeah.
So on to the Manan, you're on mute, buddy.
That is what happens with teams that are gung ho, right? Like they they are going all the time. Like the match awareness is not there. Young teams, and of course young teams also, but gung ho teams also, like their whole idea is to just keep attacking, and these kinds of situations can happen in such scenarios.
Game awareness is, yeah.
So in the clip which is there, right, उसमें कैसे दिखाया है कि Pedri has the ball. Pedri passes it to Yamal and he asks him to go out wide. And Yamal ignores him and still goes inside. So, like, it's a very, very fine margin, right? Like,
Yeah.
as a player, you may feel, ki, oh, I'll just finish the game off, it'll get done. There's no coming back.
True.
I don't mind a player of the quality that Yamal is to do that. You know, like if he were in my team, I would be okay for him to take that chance, because the probability that he actually delivers is much higher than most other players. So
Yeah.
that's okay. But I would also instruct my team to be ready for the counter, right? Like when he's going on that kind of a run that late in the match, I would want that, okay, this guy is doing his shit, but you be ready to cover him up, because we have given him this freedom only because you all are there to cover him. Like maybe that can be a way to sort of not rein in the player also and still keep the team safe.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, the rest
And
of the team should have done much better to avoid that kind of goal. But I mean, the rest is history. Like, but I agree with you, Manan. Like, like the rest of the team should have been ready for that, especially given the situation of the game. So yeah,
No, but Flick also should be like in contention for one of the best managers this season. Huh? He's done a great job just from where Barcelona were. And I mean, we always talk about the injuries that Real have had, but Barcelona has also had a lot of injuries. They've been playing like a lot of very young academy players, like throughout the season. Their left back is like a player who's more fresh than Alejandro Balde, and like Balde is only 20 and he's played like very few matches. Uh, like they started the season with practically no midfield, where like only like Fermin Lopez and Marco Casado and like someone else was playing. So
so Mark
he,
Bernal, he
hmm.
was the guy who is supposed to be the Sergio Busquets regen. He came into preseason, impressed everyone, was a shoe-in starter, and in the first couple of games of the season got a ACL, and he was out. Mark Casado, who was his replacement, came in and he also got injured. So it was like a crazy, yeah, injury situation, as you said.
So I mean, he's done a great job also, and it will be interesting to see how they deliver next season, because young teams, so consistency can be an issue for them.
cool.
So five
Let's wrap it up,
last,
guys.
no, the 5 last minutes for the finals, considering that we all watched it together.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing much to say about the final. I mean, one of the most
Yeah.
one-sided thing ever. So yeah,
No, I think it was a thing of beauty, right? You look at players in that team. Vitinha was like, I don't know even how to put it. He was like a golden retriever going from, pillar to post, just dominating everyone around him. Then you've got Dembele, who does not have a position in the team, along with Hakimi, it seems like. And Hakimi is playing like a false number nine, and Dembele is playing like a false midfielder. I don't even know how to describe the way he kind of position players. And you've got this guy Desiree Du, who I think was amazing. Like I think for the finals, the way he performed and so confident, right? And like just amazing. I think I would love to see more PSG games next season to see if they can actually replicate this kind of form.
Do they telecast the French league?
Fine code.
Arsenal had a chance to sign Desiree Du, but then Arteta was like, "No, we have Martinelli, and he's like the next thing that's going to happen, and so we don't need him."
But
But this
isn't
was 2 years ago. This was
yeah,
2 years ago when Martinelli was
uh-huh.
actually coming out of a very good season.
Yeah, yeah. But Desiree
So
Duo is like more of a right uh, winger, no? Right
No, he
winger,
can he
right
can he
inside
can play
forward.
both. He can play both.
either he
Ah,
can do
but he's
either.
left-footed, right? So then he would normally these days you don't have the left-footed wingers playing on left.
No, no, he's right-footed, buddy.
He's right-footed.
Uh,
Okay.
But
Desiree
he can
Du,
play on either of the
Barcola.
wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he could have been a backup for Saka in case Saka got injured as
Hmm.
well. So, but of course, I mean, these things keep happening. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but this is all about the talent ID, right? Like if you look at
yeah,
PSG, again, you have to give credit to Campos. Desiree Du from Rennes, they signed for 50 million. They signed Bacola from Lyon, again, I think a fee upwards of 30 million. And then in Jan, they realized that they want one more and they signed uh, yeah,
Quarry.
Kvaratskhelia.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
still yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Even
their forward is
Kvaratskhelia changed their
nice.
season, right? Like the way
Yeah,
for
he
sure,
performed as
for
well
sure.
since Jan, it was crazy. Yeah, like,
yeah.
uh,
He doesn't have the numbers, but the impact is there.
yeah, yeah,
He again, he's someone who leads from the front. If you see his game, right?
yeah,
And like I've actually seen him live as well. He does basic things very, very well. He may not be one of those flashy wingers always who's gonna do 100 step overs and then you know maybe score a 30-yard shot, which he has it in his locker, but doesn't do it so often. But in terms of tracking his man, making sure that the defender doesn't go by him, supporting 2v1s, getting in the right spaces, decision making is really, really good. It's,
yeah.
I think, great signing from PSG.
This
And
guy
again,
was
if you
playing
look
in
at
the
it,
Georgian League 3 years back.
yeah, yeah,
Imagine.
cool. So Varun, let's wrap for us.
Yes, thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe, hit the like button, and we will watch you in the next video, which is going to be in the next 5 minutes. See you.